Welcome to Baby Child & Co once again. If you are a returning viewer, we thank you so much that you keep coming back. I hope you have subscribed. If you have done so, thank you. If you haven't yet subscribed, please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so that when we upload videos, you get to see them. Today we are going to talk about children who are picky eaters. So we are talking about picky eating. When we talk about picky eating, it's divided into two. We have what is called a food jag. Food jag is when a child accepts only one particular kind of food or a restricted number of foods all the time. So you have a mother comes in and says that their child eats only cereal 5 times a day or 6 times a day. It's only cereal that the child is eating. That's a food jag. Then we also have food aversion. I'll illustrate this with a story. I had a mother who brought a child, and her complaint was that the child will accept beverage anytime, will also accept soft fufu and any soup, any kind of fish or meat, finish all. But when this child is offered rice or yam or ampesi or something else, as soon as the child sees it, she wants to vomit. And sometimes she will actually vomit. But when you give her the foods that she prefers, she will not. So food aversion is when a child can't even stand the thought of a certain kind of food, will refuse it, and it may even cause the child to vomit. This is just something like happens to pregnant women. You know, sometimes when some women are pregnant, they can't stand the thought or the aroma of certain foods. It makes them vomit. So the same thing can happen in children as well. All these are parts of being picky eaters. So we are talking about picky eating. Picky eating is quite common. I saw that there was a study done among parents of preschool children, and about half of them said that they thought that their children are picky eaters. So it's quite common. But why do we bother about picky eating? We bother about picky eating because if your child is not getting a variety of foods, if your child is eating only one food all the time, the child may develop some nutrient deficiencies. And that is why it's important that we talk about picky eating. Again, if what the child is accepting is not very healthy in terms of it being calorie dense or having a lot of energy, this can predispose the child to overweight and obesity. That's why it's important that we talk about picky eating. So picky eating can lead to overnutrition, it can lead to undernutrition, both of which we do not want. So how do you manage when you have a child who is a picky eater? The first thing for you to do is to be a good role model. We know that we want to offer a child a variety of foods from all the food groups. In fact, I have a friend who likes to say, eat a rainbow, so different colors of foods. That is what we want our children to do. But if you, the parents, are not doing it, or the other siblings are not doing it, then the child doesn't really have a role model to follow. So the food that you want your child to eat, your child should see you eating it. Don't say that because your child needs to grow, your child needs to eat vegetables and fruits and all sorts of different kinds of nutritious food when you are not doing that yourself for the child to see. So the first thing is that you should be a good role model to your child. Then as well, you should involve your child in meal planning and meal preparation. Children are excited when you give them something to do. When they feel that their contribution is valuable, then they are very excited. So what you should do is that you can have a choice of 2 or 3 kinds of nutritious dishes, and then you ask your child to choose one. Once the child chooses, you get a child involved in helping you to prepare. The child can be involved in washing, sorting out, putting it in a saucepan, anything to have the child do something. And this gets the child excited about the food, and the child is more likely to accept it. I did a video on how to introduce a new vegetable to your child, and it's a similar tip that I'm also sharing here. I'll put the link in the comments so that you can watch that one as well. So involve your child in meal preparation. And be creative. When you are offering a child something that you know that your child may not like, be creative. Serve it in beautiful plates and nice cutlery, and you can even put it into shapes that you think your child will like. Maybe a snowman, maybe a star, interesting silly shapes for your child, and then they are excited and they are more than likely to accept it than if you present it and it's boring to the child. So be creative with that and start small. You know your child doesn't like a certain kind of food. Don't give her a whole bowl full of that kind of food. Just offer a little And if your child accepts it, good. The next time you increase the quantity. And when you're offering it, offer it with foods that you know your child will readily accept. So you put something the child will readily accept, and then you add on a bit of what you know that your child would not like to eat, and offer it to the child. And let the child have small healthy snacks. Sometimes parents say that, oh, their child doesn't like eating. But when you take a recall of what the child feeds, you realize that the child has been eating a lot of small bits of food, often unhealthy food, as snacks. And so when it comes to lunch or meal time, the child is not really hungry, so it's not in a hurry to accept that food. So yes, offer snacks, let them be nutritious snacks, and they should be in small quantities so that when it comes to meal time, your child is hungry enough to want to accept the food that you are offering to the child. And whatever you want your child to accept, it's also a good idea to once in a while offer it to the friends of your child. So if they come visiting and you know that your child will not like this food that you know is nutritious, for instance, a fruit or a vegetable, offer it to your child together with their friends. And if their friends accept it, then they are more likely to accept it as well. The same comes to snacks at school. If you have your child in a school where maybe everybody is taking something that you don't like, a fizzy drink or something you don't like, and your child does not want to take fruits because everybody is taking a fizzy drink. When you pack the fruit for your child, you can pack some of the fruit for your child's friend as well. And once your child sees that the friends are accepting it, they are excited about it, your child is more than likely to also accept it. Make meal times fun. Let meal times be so much fun. Sit around a table, make it lively, have nice conversation, and everybody should be comfortable. Sometimes you have a child sitting at a table that is too high for the child. So the child can have his or her own high back chair with a table in front or like a tray in front, and then you bring it to the dining table. Everybody should be comfortable. Nice, relaxed conversation. Make meal times fun. I have a friend who told me that because the child does not accept food, anytime food is served, the cane must come out. That really is a wrong technique. If the cane comes out whenever food is served, as soon as the child sees the food, the child is already in battle mode. And you know, some people say that children who are picky eaters, they try to use the picky eating to assert their independence. They want to show you that they can do certain things that they want to do. So if you bring the cane out, you can actually beat this child and the child will still not accept the food. So make meal times fun, relaxing. There should be no punishment. Let everybody feel at home. And during the meal time, avoid distractions as much as possible. Yes, it's true that sometimes you feel that maybe when you put on the TV and the child's favorite program is on, or you give the child a game and the child is watching the game, the child can absent-mindedly eat without knowing that they are eating, and then they accept the food. But really, that is a wrong technique, because when you do that, the child will grow up with that habit, will always sit in front of the TV, and then the child is eating in front of the TV. That can actually lead to overeating. So that is also a wrong technique. There should be no distractions, and meal times should be fun as much as possible for the child. You all sit at the table, the family, you are modeling good table manners, and everybody eats, and then everybody is happy. Be patient. Be patient when you are exposing children to new foods or foods that they don't want to accept. Keep exposing them, keep bringing the food to them, but be patient. The thing is this: when you take school age, when you take preschool children, the proportion that are picky eaters are higher than when you take the same children in lower primary. So you see, picky eating actually will decrease with age. So be patient. It's just that you know it will decrease with age, but you don't want your child to be malnourished. So you want to encourage them as much as possible to accept nutritious foods, a variety of food, but be patient with your child. Rather, if you are not patient, this child will develop some food aversions, and that will be more difficult to manage. So you really need to be patient and pay attention to the preferences of your child when it comes to taste and texture. If you have a child who likes mushy foods, then as much as possible, whatever you are offering, try to make it in a form that is mushy or a puree. If you have a child that likes foods that are crunchy, then when you're offering the food, don't make it so mushy. You know that the child likes that texture. If you have a child who has a sweet tooth, Then when you're offering the food, you can sweeten it with some blended fruits or dried fruits or something like pineapple that is ripe. You can sweeten it with that. We don't want children to eat a lot of sugar, but there are creative ways of sweetening it. So pay attention to the preferences of your child when it comes to taste and when it comes to the texture of the food that they like. And don't force your child to eat more than the child wants to eat. Your duty is to provide nutritious food to the child. And then you need to pay attention to the child's cues when the child is full. Sometimes the child is full and then we are begging, oh, eat. Or we are even threatening, if you don't eat, I'm going to punish you. No, again, don't do that. When the child is full, let the child get up. Once the food is available, the nutritious food is available, when the child is hungry again, the child will come. And you should also realize who is in charge. When I say this, I mean that sometimes I'll have a parent say to me, my child will eat only drink and pastries the whole day, morning, afternoon, evening. It's only drink and pastries. And then I ask, so what if there's no drink or pastry? What will the child do? Then they are not sure what to answer because they don't really know what will happen. You see, if the child doesn't take a lot at breakfast, at lunchtime, that child is likely to compensate for it. Or at dinner, the child is likely to compensate for it. But if you keep offering what you don't want the child to eat because that is what the child is insisting on, then there isn't going to be any change. So know who is in charge. We don't want you to punish your children when it comes to food, but know who is in charge. Then be liberal with your praise. We say that we don't want you to punish them, but when they eat the food that you have given them, when they have surprised you by behaving so well at the table, you can reward them. Reward them with praise. Oh, you've done very well today. Reward them with extra playtime. Reward them with stickers or pencils. But don't reward them with unhealthy food. Don't say to your child, if you are able to eat all this, I'm going to give you a drink or a sweet or something. Those are supposed to be treats, not daily foods. So don't use desserts, especially the sweet ones, to reward them for finishing their food. You can use praise, as I have said. So with all these, when do you get help? Well, you should get help sometimes when you suspect what we call food intolerances. You should get help. How can you suspect a food intolerance? When consistently you give a certain food to a child and the child has vomiting or diarrhea, or the child eats it and gets a rash on the skin, or your child eats it and is crying because the tummy is paining, then you need to take that child to hospital so that it can be investigated, and then they will tell you whether they think it's a food intolerance or not. Or when the child has a difficulty chewing, that's one also, or difficulty swallowing, or the child is growing abnormally slow or developing abnormally slowly, that's one too you should seek help for. So again, that means that when you take your child for the weighing or the well baby clinic or well child clinic, you should ask the people who attend to you to explain to you what the weight, the length or the height, all the measurements they take, what it means, so that you will know. And they will also tell you when your child is not developing well. When you see these things, then you need to seek help for the child. Or when you find that your child indulges in a repetitive behavior, your child is not cooperating with feeding, doesn't want to interact with anyone, at mealtimes he's happy, but the child doesn't want to interact, then that one too, you need to take your child to hospital as well. So what I've tried to say is that picky eaters are common. It's very common. So keep calm. It's not only your child, but this is something that you need to handle well. If you don't, it can worsen the problem. It can lead to food aversion, or it can lead your child to become malnourished or obese. Keep calm, but follow the recommended tips that I have said. There are lots of resources that you can also read as well. You can look at those tips and see which ones you can apply. These are evidence-based tips, and they are likely to work for you because they work for a lot of children. Thank you for watching this video. We hope that you will keep coming back. Please visit our blog. It's babychildandco.com. We have a host of articles for you to browse through. You can join our parenting club. It's free. You can also join our community forum. Our community forum is where you can get to interact with other parents. You can ask questions and expect reliable answers as well. Thank you. Bye.